I'm Ash Minnick, and this is Club Auspex. We have just seen the season finale of Season 2 of New York by Night, and I am ecstatic to have with me the storyteller himself, Jason Carl.
Hello, Ash.
Hi, Jason.
Nice to be back.
It's so lovely to have you here.
Did you enjoy the episode?
I did. It was, yeah. There was a lot of it that the roles really dictated a lot of things.
In a way, yeah.
I mean, player choices obviously did as well as the general storytelling, but, oh man, it could have gone a lot of different ways. So I mean, start with the obvious. As always, we've just finished an entire season with a Camarilla coterie, following the Anarch coterie.
Yes.
Although we did hear a lot about the Anarch coterie and what they were up to. Yeah. So can you compare them for me? The last time you were here, you talked about how the Anarch, season went, and now we've gone through the Camarilla season. What was it like?
What was it like? Well, it was thrilling to be the storyteller for our first official Camarilla actual play stream story. Where we started with both coteries was a little similar in that they're both street-level stories at the very bottom rung of the ladders of their respective factions. But obviously, the comparison doesn't hold up much beyond that. The Camarilla coterie starts with certain advantages. They have support. They have mentorship of a sort from their sires. They have a connection to a larger community and hierarchy of kindred that allegedly is there to help protect them. We'll see if that really is true as we go forward. This coterie, of course, started more closely together. They had started from a place where they were brought together and they worked together immediately. And then, over the course of the season, the coterie disintegrated.
Yeah.
At last. The Anarch coterie, of course, started in similar fashion. They were brought together by an external force, but they didn't really come together until they'd gone through the crucible until the very, very end. Yeah. So, similar starting points, very different endings.
Yeah, and you had a sort of a parallel episode, although it came later in the Anarch season, in which they each had their own separate adventure. And I felt like in the Anarch season, that kind of brought them closer, whereas I feel like what was learned in the Camarilla season, almost was the wedge.
I think it is true. The two stories do parallel each other in very similar ways, but how each individual character reacts to similar situations manifests completely differently, as we have seen.
Yeah, and as we've said many times, this is the first Camarilla coterie we've seen, first Camarilla sort of player characters that were at the table the whole season. How do you feel these characters sort of portrayed the Camarilla? I mean, they were fledglings, and so they were sort of new to it and experiencing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this coterie isn't really the default Camarilla coterie that we might expect from a chronicle that we were just starting up at home. It could be, but the default assumes generally neonates, which are a little older and a little bit more experienced. They have, they're slightly more powerful. They have a little bit more lore knowledge about their faction or their sect. And these characters are fledglings. And so I really wanted to look at what is the fledgling experience in the Camarilla. You've been told a little bit about things, probably by wildly unreliable narrators.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you don't know, but it doesn't occur to you not to trust what you've been told until there's a reason to do so. Sure, you know that kindred don't tell the truth, but people don't tell the truth either sometimes. So is it really so different when you're a vampire? And the answer is yes. Yes, it is.
Yes, it's very different.
The stakes are very different. I thought this coterie,
the
these
stakes.
players...
I get it.
See? We're here to help. I'm here for you, Ash. I thought these players did phenomenally well at portraying the hideous balancing act that Camarilla, kindred, and fledglings have to do.
Yeah.
They have to do what they're told to a point, and yet they too want agency and the freedom to make decisions. Very different experiences. The Camarilla is kind of I think of it as a terrible and dark blood opera. And the Anarch story is, of course, very much more at the gritty street level of action adventure.
Yeah, and you said you wanted to explore the fledgling experience with Camarilla. Did they have a normal fledgling experience?
No, I don't think they did. Not really. I chose to present the fledgling experience this way because of the time and place. We're in New York City. The events of Coteries of New York, our video game from our partners, Draw Distance, are behind us. The events of Shadows of New York, the companion game, are just now unfolding. They're happening in the background, as we've heard alluded to. So this coterie is not having the default fledgling experience, I would say.
Yeah.
Normally fledglings, I think, would go through a little bit more rigorous hierarchical experience, presentation to the prince or the court, or an official release and recognition of their kindredhood. But on the other hand, every city is different. And right now, Prince Bernard, less interested in that because she has bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. And of course, I have to ask where you thought this season was going to go versus where it went.
Well, those are two different things.
I remember even episode 1, it sort of like went an entirely different direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's all. I'm always fascinated to know if our audience, if our family, can spot the moments where I'm thinking, oh God, this plot is now completely useless. I have to now invent the new direction.
Yeah.
In this case, no, it didn't go where I thought. I had an arc in mind, but the key to any good vampire storytelling experience and playing experience is the players and their choices, their ambitions, their goals, what they want from the experience, what their expectations are. And even though I knew what those were because of the work we'd done together before we started, I did not expect those elements and the player decisions at the table in the moment to take us where we went. And it's not really about changing the plot. These things might have happened anyway, but in a different way. It's more about amplifying certain elements of the plot when you see, oh, the players are interested in this. I mean, this coterie breezed right by some plot elements that I dropped, some NPCs that were there. They clearly were not intrigued by them, or they had other things in their focus.
Yeah.
And so I de-emphasized those elements. They could still come back.
Yeah. They're still in the world.
They're still in the world, and the world keeps going on in the background regardless of what the players are doing. But I did emphasize other things like the conspiracy of Sires.
Yeah.
That was a deep background element that really wasn't going to be in the forefront of the story until I realized, oh, this is something the players care about a lot. We should emphasize it and give them more opportunities for action with this plot element.
Yeah.
That was a long answer.
No, it was great. It was interesting. And it is truly interactive storytelling because
in real time.
Yeah, and it's even though you are the storyteller and you are creating this world, the paths that they choose really direct, where the episodes go.
Oh, always. Yeah. The player choice and the opportunity for action moves everything forward.
What was the biggest surprise for you?
The biggest surprise, I think, was right here in episode 8, where things fell out. I had suspicions about where things would come down, but I didn't know. And the biggest surprise was how sharply the divisions came out at the end.
Yeah.
3 different directions.
Have you ever had a moment, not necessarily in this season, but just as a storyteller in general, have you ever had a moment where the players made a decision and you were just like, no, you can't, you can't do that?
No. I would consider myself a failure as a storyteller if I ever got to that point.
Yeah.
It's always yes and never no but. The players are the most important things in this world, and I am a fan of the players, and I'm a fan of their characters. I want them not necessarily to win, but I certainly want them to have opportunities to pursue their ambitions. So no, I don't recall ever experiencing that.
Well,
that'd be weird.
It's admirable, though, for you to be able to sort of create a sandbox environment like that. A lot of, I'll say less experienced GMs tend to put things on rails. And it's,
sure.
I think it's lovely as a player, being able to play in a game where you can go anywhere and you know that the storyteller kind of will fill in the gaps and let you experience that.
I think it's a much more satisfying experience for everybody at the table. For me, the key is knowing what the world wants. What do these NPCs want? What are they prepared to do to get what they want? What are they prepared not to do? And how badly do they want to stop other people from getting the same thing? If you know that from the beginning, the story is much easier to tell.
And you mentioned the two games that sort of bookend the stories. Yeah, is that helpful to have that sort of canonical world building already established, or does that become restrictive at any point?
I want to answer the question I think you're asking, but I'm going to ask you to rephrase it because I'm not sure what it is.
Okay. Does needing to stay within the canon of the video games provide a sort of a base that actually helps you, or do you feel like it can be sometimes restrictive?
Oh, I see what you mean. Thank you for clarifying. No, I didn't find it restrictive at all. I found it actually very freeing. There are certain things I just don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about what Prince Bernard is doing. I know what she's doing, and I know what she cares about, thanks to the excellent work that Draw Distance has done in these games. I know precisely what she's here to do, what she will and won't do. So I was able to devote my energies to building other parts of the world that aren't included in the video games and that we don't know about yet.
Yeah, and we got to see the prince and Aisling.
Did.
Yeah, and we saw them obviously in the end caps of season 1, but we actually got to see them at the table, embodied by the amazing Becca and Josephine, and we had Simone back. Why those three NPCs?
Why those three NPCs?
Yeah.
Why we wanted Prince Bernard in, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly and she doesn't get upset about it. Prince Bernard. Why we wanted the prince is because we wanted to show the devastatingly wide gulf between where the fledglings really are in the hierarchy of the Camarilla and where the leadership is. It's one thing to run around as fledglings and think that you know what's going on, you know who is important, and to think about your position in all of it. But until you're confronted with the individual that actually embodies the Camarilla in the city, it may not actually hit home for you.
Yeah.
So we wanted to illustrate that gulf. For Aisling Sturbridge, well, two reasons. One, she's been a favorite character of mine for a very long time.
I think it's the coat.
It's the coat or the glasses. I'm not really sure exactly. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it. But also because, as we saw in the end caps, Aisling is one of the very few characters who can speak to power, speak to the prince, and find a way to reach her in ways that are meaningful and important to the city without having to be explicit about it.
Yeah.
And I wanted the characters to essentially get a sense of the fact that there is a bigger game being played around them, that maybe they are pawns, or maybe they're more important pieces on the chessboard, but Aisling represents that wider game and how it works. And then Simone, because, well, Persephorath is just incredible. We saw her in season 1 with the Anarch coterie, and so we knew we wanted to give the Camarilla coterie the same, not the same experience, but the same opportunity to see how the ministry is operating in New York City and to express their philosophy and their ideas through Simone and to see how they reacted to it. And as you saw, very different.
Yeah, and the club provides such an opportunity for interaction. It's very fun. So, Jason, I got some questions from our Camarilla cast for you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
should be outstanding.
I don't know if I should just ask these or if I should tell you who they're from.
Oh no, don't
reveal?
Let's keep the identity of the questioners a deep secret.
I've changed the names of the questioners for their protection.
to protect the players from my wrath.
Blander. No, just kidding.
Oh, great. Fire away.
Okay, so the Sire coterie and the characters within that.
The Sire coterie. You mean for the Camarilla team?
Yes, on the Camarilla team.
Sure,
Camarilla.
The Conspiracy of Sires.
The Conspiracy of Sires. So were the characters of those Sires, were they inspired by another game you've played or you've been a storyteller for before, or?
Yes, in many, many ways. The character of James Rafferty is a personality that I have used by other names in other chronicles that I've told, both at the table and in LARP as well. Renato is a character who I've introduced from time to time in various La Sombra capacities for LARPs in the past, and live-action role-playing games, by the way, for the non-LARPers out there. And then Glassjaw. Glassjaw is sort of a combination of my very, very first Vampire the Masquerade character, a Nosferatu, and in my head, I kind of see him as the other combination half is kind of Ron Perlman.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, now that's all I'm going to see.
Is Ron Perlman as Glassjaw?
Yeah.
Well, if there's ever a New York by Night, film or TV show, maybe we could get Mr. Perlman to take that role.
Do you have other actors as those sires are like picked out in your head that you follow?
I mean, yes, but I don't know. I don't know how accurately that's coming through.
Oh, well, then we won't reveal that either. We'll keep it anonymous if you'd like.
I'm not trained in the acting skills, so let's protect the guilty.
See if you folks can guess. Guess in the chat. And so the next question.
Mm-hmm.
What was, or who was, your favorite NPC to embody this season, and why?
Oh, Lizzie, for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's great, right?
She is great.
It wrecks my voice to do her, but she's so cool.
Yeah, and Lizzie was one that you didn't necessarily anticipate them spending so much time with.
I thought she would be, a really minor guest player in both coteries' experiences, and I didn't expect the Camarilla coterie to gravitate toward Lizzie quite that much. But it was great that they did, because she introduced really cool subplots for everybody.
Yeah, I thought I like her a lot too.
I think she's pretty cool. Poor Lizzie, I feel so sorry for her. She just wants to create. She wants to make art, and she wants to share it with people who enjoy it. That's all she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now somebody dropped a dime on her, and we'll see what happens.
All right, next question. We talked a bit about, for you, the difference of storytelling with the Anarchs versus the Camarilla coterie.
Yeah.
This question is, what parallels do you see between the characters of the two coteries?
Ooh, that's a great question. It'll be interesting to see if my predictions come out. But I think there are some obvious parallels, right? I think that Isaac, Alex, from the Anarch coterie, and Braun, Xander, have some similarities, some comparisons. They're both, in some ways, the most extreme outsiders in their coteries. Not by much, but by some. And the way they are approaching their unlives, I think, has some interesting parallels. I think that Kiem and Seraph have some things in common as well. And if they ever meet, it'll be interesting to see how far that goes, because they both desire an extraordinary amount of freedom that is often not found among the kindred of either sect.
Yeah.
Very difficult to achieve the kind of freedom that they both want.
Yeah, and they're both carrying some baggage from their
a little bit
their previous life, I should say.
Yeah, I think that of course Fuego and Kalita share something in common, and that is a sire.
Yeah.
But they're both very different characters, and they approach their unlives incredibly differently. And so, apart from that commonality, though, I don't know what would happen if they were to meet. And then finally, I think that Ray, Joey's character in the Anarch coterie, and Coco, Cynthia's character here in the Camarilla, have some parallels in the fact that they both want to join a different society, or they both want to join the Camarilla or something like it, but they're both probationary at best, or even outcast.
Yeah.
They have to work to prove that they're worthy according to who knows whose criteria and standards and judging. And I think that could be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, and I think they almost have sort of an opposite coin thing, because they both, Coco is so restrained, and then Ray struggles so much
almost
with
completely
restraint.
unrestrained.
Yeah, but it's still a very common theme for both of them, is restraint, either the lack of it or the abundance of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
The follow-up question to that is, what do you think will happen when they meet?
When all these characters meet? I don't know.
Yeah.
None of us know. I think it'll be a very different kind of story. And I think that this will probably demand every ounce of improvisational skill I have. I'm a little scared of it, actually.
Oh, I'm excited. I mean,
I'm
I don't have to be the storyteller, so of course I'm excited.
I'm excited too, but I'm a little scared of what we might be called upon to work with.
Yeah.
It should be incredible, though.
Yeah, it's the first time that you've ever done anything like this. Yeah.
I've never done anything like this. I'm sure other people have, but I have not. I've not started with 2 coteries of 2 different factions and then tried to weave those stories together.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so last question, which is kind of a 2-parter, is
All right.
regarding the relationships between the Sires and the coterie.
Ooh, complicated.
Yeah, we got to see a little bit how the characters, you know, actually feel about their Sires. We got to talk a little bit with the players about that in Club Auspex. But how do you feel the Sires actually feel about their children?
Ooh, a great question. Well, I am going to answer in a limited fashion because, of course, there are still secrets to be revealed and still mysteries to be solved. But I think I can at least share some information. I think Glassjaw embraced Braun for a reason, for a very specific reason, to get something out of this relationship. But I think he also he does care in his own way about Braun. Braun is important to him as an individual as well. If you're asking, you know, does Glassjaw, you know, love Braun? I don't know. Maybe. And it may be after a fashion, but I'm not sure that
That's
really...
That's actually just what I wanted to know.
Glassjaw
love Braun.
I don't know. I don't know if that enters into the equation or not. But I do know that Glassjaw didn't want to hurt Braun when he could have. He wanted to save him. He tried to pitch him out of the balcony to get him out of that fight rather than just let him go.
Yeah.
That says something.
And I feel like you have 3 different relationships going on there
very different.
with 3 of the players, and you got to play them quite a bit, you know. And as you said, it became a larger focus than was initially planned. Did you feel those relationships were sort of representative of general Sire-children relationships, or was there something unique or fun about those specifically? I think,
no and yes, there was something unique and fun about all of them, but no, I don't think they're typical at all. I think there is no such thing as a typical Sire-child relationship. I think for Renato and Coco, there's very much a familial feeling to it. There's very much a blood tie. They take it very seriously. I think what we saw is Renato wants Coco to make him proud, but he is certainly willing to step in and help her when necessary, but not too much. He could have done much more in that fight, in that showdown, but he didn't. He did just enough to, say, even the odds, when he could have done much more. He expects Coco to be her own kindred and to make the clan proud.
Yeah.
Khalida and Rafferty obviously have a very complicated relationship, and I'm not even sure that they really knew what it was all about at some points. There was clearly a lot of mistrust, and I think there was manipulation both ways. I think that Rafferty, though, surprised himself in the end when he realized, oh, I might actually lose this child of mine. Maybe I care more than I thought I did. And isn't that surprising? Because he too could have made very different decisions. He could have gotten away clean. He could have brought the building down. He could have shot everybody with security guards. But instead, he wanted to leave with his child. Yeah. So if actions speak louder than words, I think we have some answers through those actions.
Well, thank you. I think you answered those questions brilliantly.
Ooh, excellent.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us in Club Auspex and telling us some of the secrets.
Some of the secrets. More secrets to come in season 3.
I'm so excited about season 3.
So am I too. I have to go home and start writing.
Yeah. Well, yes. I'm just going to be excited for a second. Okay, all right.
Did you happen to catch another exciting mention?
I did. I didn't know that was happening. I was watching the episode, and I noticed a certain Ventru was mentioned.
Yes.
So, you know, maybe some more fun stuff in season 3.
Perhaps. And if Suzanne and Fiona survived the attack of the Inquisition in Los Angeles, who knows what other LA secrets might be revealed.
Yeah, maybe I'll get to be behind the table. Who knows?
We'll see.
Who knows? Find out in season 3 of New York by Night. Yay!
I'm still not dancing.
No, you gotta dance.
That's not happening.
Just gotta dance.
No.